County Fair at Punkin Center by Mr. Cal Stewart. And it's on record. Well, we've just had our county fair down home at Punkin Center, and gosh, I ain't got the noises out of my ears yet. While for several days we was pretty busy getting ready for it. Everybody going to put something on exhibition. Old Deacon Witherspoon was packing some apples in a barrel. Jim Lawson come along. He said, "Deacon, don't look to me as though you was packing them apples in the Christian spirit." And Deacon says, "I ain't. I'm packing them in a barrel." Well, he says, "I notice you're putting all the big red rosy apples on top." And Deacon says, "Jim, I'm packing them according to nature." And Jim says, "How is that?" He says, "Well, you never seen any cream in the bottom of the crop, did you?" Well, our town was never so full of people. Gosh, they were sleeping everywhere. And Ezra Hoskins' tavern was so full, he put a lot of them to sleeping over in the church. Long in the night, we heard the church bell ringing and calculated maybe as how there might be a fire. And he sent his boy Rube over to the church to see what was the matter. And Rube come back. He says, "The feller in pew 17 wants another hymn book for a pillar." Well, they had a lot of shows going on along there, and Deacon Witherspoon said one of them we ought to see because it was taken right from Scripture. That portion of it where a gal named Salome danced in front of King Herod while we all went in to see it. The program said that Salome would dance with 7 veils. Well, maybe Salome had 7 veils once, but looked to me as though she'd lost about 6 of them. Well, Deacon Witherspoon painted that we had to pour ice water on him and let him smell camphor to bring him to. Well, then a little farther down the street was another gal dancing the dance called the Dance of Venus. Well, sir, them 2 tents was just chock full all the time. I never seen our people so anxious to study scripture and astronomy. Then there was another show. They called it Vaudeville. And a feller come out on the platform that said he was a magician. And he asked somebody to give him a book. Well, sir, they hand him up a book, and he wrapped a handkerchief around it, towel around it, a bed sheet around it, a comforter around it, put it in a pillar, and they blindfolded him, and he stood up there and read just what was in the book. And Ice Crosby was there with his gal, and she said, "Hiram, let's get out of here. First thing I know, that fella'll be reading a letter of yours what I got in my pocket." Well, sure, then we went down the street to look at the stock. And they had a lot of hogs on exhibition, and Jim Lawson got to looking at him, and he said to a feller what had some, says, "Those hogs of yours look kind of peculiar. How did you fatten them?" He said, "Well, I just turned them out in the pasture and let them get fat on grass." And Jim said, "Well, took a lot of time, didn't it?" And the feller said, "Yes, but what's time to a hog?" Then there was another feller there, had a hog they called a razorback, and the judge gave him the first premium on the count of speed. And we all wanted to know just exactly what speed had to do with a hog. And he said, "Well, over where he lived, if you had a hog that couldn't outrun the neighbors, why, you might as well not have the hog."